Hello and welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking about what it's actually like to be transgender, and also what it's like to let go of being transgender and to move past it. So, first, I want to talk about how, just for people who don't understand the first-hand perspective of what it's like to be transgender. What are transgender people really going through? What's going through their minds? What are they actually experiencing? Because I know a lot of people are very curious. People have asked me a lot of questions because they know I'm not very easily offended and they can get away with asking me some pretty absurd things. And sometimes people do ask me some really absurd things. And I would love to make this video and answer your absurd questions so that you don't have to ask people them anymore. Let's start off by, so what do transgender people think makes them transgender? When you are transgender, or identifying as transgender, you have this notion that you were born in the wrong body. That, oh, my body is female and I'm male, or I'm supposed to be a man, or vice versa. Right? So I look back at my childhood and I'm like, well, I always wanted to do what the boys were doing. I always wanted to hang out with the boys. I always wanted to dress like a boy. I was obviously supposed to be born as a man. This is kind of the mentality that transgender people have, is they look at themselves and they think, well, I don't fit into society because some part of me is different. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people can relate to. It's feeling like you don't fit in anywhere. Most of my life, I did not fit in. I remember in kindergarten sitting by the trash can watching the other kids play because I literally did not know how to be a normal kid. And I remember having two great friends at one point and being like, well, yeah, but I want to go play with the boys. I want to go play tag with all of the boys. It looks like so much fun. I wanted to play with Nerf guns and stuff. It sounded way more fun to me to do what the boys were doing. And a lot of transgender people have this, where they're like, I just want to be able to fit in where I want to fit in. If you are female and you want to play with the Nerf guns with all of the boys, but oh, they don't want you to play with them because you're female, it makes you feel like you're missing something. It makes you feel like an alien. You know, you do feel like you're born in the wrong body because of these things. But the problem I've been trying to point out is that it is not you that is the problem. It is not your body that is the problem. It is society's notion of what a man and a woman is being completely distorted. I mean, if I had a daughter and she wanted to play soccer with the boys and kick it at a fence, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But there are lots of parents out there who think, oh, well, you need to be a girl, you need to wear dresses, and you need to have makeup, and you need to just follow society because for some reason we have these weird social construct things that make up a woman, when having a woman is having a uterus. Or being a woman is having a uterus. Being a woman is not something you can do, it's something you are. And you have lots of lives where you are a man, and you have lots of lives where you are a woman. And you probably have lives where you are intersex as well. Like, you are here for a reason. There is purpose behind your being here. And if you don't fit in with society, that's because things need to change, not because your body needs to change. But I'm getting a little sidetracked here. This is about helping people understand what transgender is. What are transgender people feeling and thinking? They're thinking that they're born in the wrong body. That is 90% of what's going on inside of them. Is they're feeling like an outcast. They're feeling like they don't belong. They're feeling like something in their past is making them something that they feel they are today. They're thinking that their brain doesn't match their body, or that their spirit doesn't match their body. They're thinking that their personality doesn't match their physical self, and therefore they want to change their physical self so that you can actually see who they are on the inside. It's like wearing clothes. If I dress in a more masculine way, people tend to associate me more as a man. Whereas if I dress more in a feminine way, people tend to associate me more as a woman. And we've decided that women wear this and men wear this. Even though wearing a dress doesn't mean you have a uterus. Right? A dress has nothing to do with your body parts. And I think we just need to clarify these things that, hey, there's a lot of social constructs that are pointless and make no sense. And we don't need them. What we need is to understand that both men and women have a purpose in this world, and they have this beautiful potential. It's important to accept ourselves as we are. And it's important to not ignore your personality, your internal world, your heart's desires. It's also important to acknowledge that your body is perfect and beautiful the way it is. And if there is a disconnect between who you feel you are on the inside and who you feel you are on the outside, you can work through that without damaging your body. You can work through that without getting everyone else's approval. Other people are only going to see you if they can. Some people are so blinded by everything going on in the world, they can't even see themselves. You can't expect them to see you too, if they can't even see themselves. Now, what are transgender people feeling? What's going on in their emotional world when they're transitioning and they're going through things? One thing is validation. They're feeling validated every time you refer to them with the thing that they've been wanting you to refer to them as. It feels good. It's like a dopamine rush. It's like, oh, everyone sees me. Everyone sees the real me. It feels fantastic. It feels like you can finally be yourself and you don't have to hide anymore. Because you've been trying so hard to fit in to society and be this fake little Barbie doll for everybody. And now you just cannot do that anymore. And you finally have the freedom. You have this thing giving you permission to be like, hey, you know what? You can just be yourself. Only it's kind of a backwards way of doing it because you're actually ignoring a whole new part of yourself. You're ignoring your physical state, your body, because you're focusing on trying to get people to understand you're not this cookie cutter Barbie doll in a playhouse. And that is what transgender people are feeling. They're feeling like they are finally themselves. They're finally being accepted. They're finally being able to open up and be who they truly are. But my point that I've been trying to make is that you don't need to change who you are on the outside to be yourself. If you're a woman that likes to chop wood, then you should go chop wood, right? You don't need to change your genitals in order to do a physical activity that people have associated with one gender for some unknown reason. The color pink used to be associated with men, and now it's associated with women. Why? Because it's just a color. It's, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with gender. Literally nothing to do with your biological sex. It's a color, And people have learned that if they can get people to associate that color with a certain demographic, they can use it for marketing. So they make women's razors pink and they market it towards women, and women are going to buy the pink razors. That's what those structured things are for. They're for marketing. And they don't really define us as human beings. If I'm naked out in the forest and I own nothing, who am I? When I have no clothes, when I have no possessions, no makeup, when I am not shaving anything, I'm not changing any part of my physical self, who am I? I am still female. I'm in a female body. And accepting that is a very, very important thing. Men cannot give birth. And I can. It is a very powerful, beautiful thing. And I grew up thinking that it was a weakness. I grew up thinking that men can just use me because of this thing. When in actuality, it's a beautiful gift that I have to be able to bring another life into the world. What could be more special than that? So I guess I'm getting a little sidetracked again. When transgender people are, going through it, truly engulfed in being transgender, another emotion that they're experiencing a lot of times is fear and sadness and just gut-wrenching pain from people trying to get them to fit into some box that they can't fit in. People have insulted me at my work when I worked as a server. Yeah, people were not nice a lot of times. They would make comments about my gender and stuff. Because, this is their Saturday to just enjoy themselves and they can just let loose and be a jerk. And quite honestly, at this point, I feel sorry for those people because they must have a really messed up life for that to be how they have fun. But this is a huge part of being transgender that people need to understand, is that there is so much pain that transgender people are experiencing. Pain from people they've lost, people who will not and never have accepted them, who are just gone now. And it feels like a part of yourself has been left behind. It feels empty, the fact that people can just leave you for going through a journey of self-discovery. It can really, really suck. And sometimes you have to push other people out because they're disrespecting you so much that you can't stand to be around them anymore. You lose people, you lose friends. And another part of the pain doesn't have to do with people out there. It has to do with what's going on in here. Of, hey, I feel sad and anxious, and you feel like everyone else has something that you don't. Everyone else gets to be comfortable in their bodies and you don't. Right? It makes you feel like the sore thumb. This is what transgender people are feeling like. They're feeling like the sore thumb of society. They're feeling like, hey, I'm the odd one out. And in a sense, they are the odd one out. Because they're going through this horrible, hard time in their life. They're going through something really traumatic, and they don't even realize it. When you're injecting your body with some mystery fluid, that is very traumatic. It is extremely traumatic. And the fact that people are telling you that it is helpful is extremely, extremely terrible. I don't want to insult people who are doing that, who are going through it. I don't want to make you feel bad. But just coming out from the other end of it, I really wish I could have honed in on myself to be like, hey, you should know what you're putting in your body before you put it in there. You should know where this comes from, because you don't know where it comes from. And that should scare you. It should scare you that you're putting this thing in your body and you have no idea what it is. And I still don't know completely what it is, but the little bit that I do know makes me worried as to what that has done to me. Okay, so I've gone over how transgender people are, what they're thinking about, and how they're feeling. And now I kind of want to go over what they're experiencing when they are realizing that this journey is not for them, that they don't want to be transgender anymore, that they don't feel like they were. There's so much confusion. There's so much shock. You're just like, what am I doing? There's this realization that, hey, like, there is so much more to this picture than I thought there was. There's a lot going on within you, and you're feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling like something's wrong, something's off. And then to go back after you've already gone against the current, after you've already fought to get people to see who you are, it makes it feel like you fucked up so bad. It makes it feel like other people are just going to never be able to trust you because now they think you're crazy and stupid. It takes all that judgment that was already on you and just amplifies it. Because now you've already made the choice to make these permanent life-altering decisions, and you cannot take that back. And now I'm not even fighting for transgender people's existence and the industry and everything. I'm not fighting for the medical transition anymore. I'm not supporting it. And people are still shaming me for it. People are shaming me for something I don't even support. Because this facial hair is not going away. It's been, 2.5 years since I stopped taking testosterone. My voice is deep, and my face is going to produce facial hair. And yeah, I'm not going to shave it all the time perfectly. And I'm going to have to deal with those things. I'm going to have to face those things every day for the rest of my life. And I can face it being like, you know what? When other people have a problem with me, that is not my problem. Or I can take it personal. And it can hurt. It can bring up all these old wounds that haven't been healed. And that is what people are going through when they are detransitioning. They are rewriting their entire life, take two. You just went through puberty twice, and then you're like, I don't know which time was worse. Like, puberty is hard enough when you only go through it once, and now here you are going through it a second time, and then ungoing through it. And I know some people who detransition will do other things, like they will get breast implants, or they might even have surgery to try and make their vocal cords a little bit higher, which could end up completely damaging your voice. You know, they might try to do all these things to try and go back. But you're never going to be at the place you were before you started transitioning. And that's something that takes a lot of acceptance. And I think there are still times where I am sad, I am hurt, because I'm still healing through that. I'm still accepting myself as I am. And there are things about me that I do miss. There are certain things that I absolutely wish I could have back again. But at the same time, I am who I am today. And what got me into this mess was not realizing that I was perfect as I was. And so, not understanding that I am perfect right now is only going to catapult into another problem. Our bodies need to be loved and respected and cared for. And we should not be having surgeries unless there is a serious problem going on physically. People don't need to have nose jobs if their nose is just a little bit crooked. People don't need to get their breasts implanted just because they're sagging a little bit. Right? We need to just love our wrinkles, love our moles, love our freckles, love every part of ourselves. It's important to understand that the human body is what it is. And this is something that people who have detransitioned, this is probably going to be the thing that will help you most, is to relearn how to love your body, or learn for the first time just how to love this vessel. Without this body, you would not be here. You would not have this life. It is something to cherish. Without this body, I would not be in this life, and that is something that is so, so precious. And yes, I'm not male. I can't do all the things that males can do. I cannot impregnate someone else. But I can do all the things that females can do. I can get pregnant. And that is a beautiful thing. A very, very beautiful thing. It's important to acknowledge the beauty in what you have. We're always seeking and wanting what's out there. But we need to accept what's in here, what's already right here. So for people who are not transgender and have not gone through any sort of transgender things personally, what I want you to understand the most about people who are going through that is that these people are in pain. They are hurting, they are suffering, and someone is taking advantage of their suffering. And you should not be mad at the pawn of the game. Transgender people are simply the pawn of this game. You cannot be mad at the pawn. Well, I mean, you can, but directing your anger towards the pawn instead of the person playing the game is pointless. When you're playing a game of chess and one of the pieces takes out one of your pawns, do you yell at the pawn and get angry at the pawn? Or are you upset with the person playing the game against you? The whole point of transgender is to cause tension, to cause war, to cause fighting, to cause conflict. And if you are angry at transgender people, if you are around insulting people, I encourage you to put yourself in that person's shoes. Imagine that you are going against the crowd. Imagine that you are hurting and you're confused and you're not sure what you're doing, and someone just comes up and insults you while you're already going through so much. How would you feel in that person's shoes? Do you think that insulting people is going to help anyone? Do you think that it's going to solve any problems? Or is it just a way for you to vent out onto someone else who is feeling weaker than you? Bullying transgender people doesn't do anyone any good. They're human beings at the end of the day, and you need to remind yourself of this, that this is a human being going through something you have no understanding of. And it's extremely important that you have compassion for them. You don't have to agree with what they're doing. But if you don't agree with what they're doing, you should feel bad for them. You should feel sorry for them that they are going through that. I don't really understand where the notion of anger comes from. And I think it just has to do with wanting everyone to confine to your own view of what society needs to be like. Thinking that everything has to fit into this cookie cutter mold of what you think reality should be. And not understanding that we are all co-creators of this reality, that we are all a part of the same whole, and that you cannot have the world be exactly how you want it to be. We all need to compromise and work together and understand each other. That is what needs to happen. Fighting other people is not going to get you there. Fighting people who you should be learning about, understanding what they're going through, and having compassion for them, that is going to change so much more than trying to battle some pawn in a game, right? And I do want to say that from personal experience, I have not experienced the worst of what transgender people are going through. Transgender individuals have the highest suicide rate and the highest murder rate in the United States of America. That is something you should really think about. When I say these people are suffering, I mean it. They're suffering more than anyone else. Maybe not more than anyone, but you know what I mean. As far as like a category of people, they're suffering the most. So please just have compassion for other people. They are going through things that you know nothing of. You're going through things that I know nothing of too. And that's why I need to have compassion for you. Compassion is what will make the world great. Not war, not fighting, not shaming people for going through their own hardships. It's time that we stick together, that we stick to our own humanity, that we come from a place of love. I hope this video helps you understand transgender people, and if you have questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm not this all-knowing being, but I do have my own personal experience with transitioning and detransitioning, and I can answer a lot of questions about it. Thank you for watching, and please have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing day.